Hey everybody, this is Nightwatch N8. I'm going again hands-free. Oh, I still need to keep my hand on the steering wheel. Yeah, I'm getting kind of high-tech these days, if you haven't noticed. I was just thinking today, imagine how heroic it must have been, right? Like back in the day, when I was carrying this thing in my hand all the time, right? Canon, this old-fashioned, feels like a block of metal right now, as heavy as this thing is. The roll cage on there and everything. Yeah, the Canon, the good old-fashioned Canon M50. Just think about how heroic, this program here that you're watching, this podcast. This podcaster goes by the name of Nightwatch N8. Think of how heroic I've been over the years, bringing these rants from the road to my audience while I'm trying to steer around, camera in one hand like this, other hand on the steering wheel. I mean, think about it, guys. Risking my life. I mean, it's almost as heroic as that fist pump after the first quote-unquote Trump assassination, right, guys? I just had to bring that up because, of course, what's trending today over the weekend, perfect timing, hitting the news cycle on a Friday. Joe Rogan released the interview with Donald Trump, and last I checked, it's trending upwards near 18 million almost views on YouTube, just YouTube alone. And of course, it's plastered all over X, and I'm sure a number of different platforms. But yeah, for some reason, the Joe Rogan Experience tweeted out the fact that as soon as they released the video, YouTube listed it as unlisted, which means, if you don't know the parlance in YouTube, toss that, just a little ginger ale if you're wondering. Yeah, an unlisted video means basically anybody who has the link can view it, but it's not actively on the YouTube search engine, right? So unless you're given that direct link, you won't likely see the video. So that was kind of interesting, but when all is said and done, I doubt Joe can complain too much to YouTube because, man, that's got to be thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars right there, just in ad revenue alone. Getting that kind of view. I mean, I can never imagine. 18 million views. Whereas I'm a little tiny guy here, but I'm not paid off by the Israeli lobby. Not, bought off by Big Pharma. As you can probably tell over the years, I've been pretty consistent in my message. I don't put up with crap, all right? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and wave my pom-poms around and put on a skirt, act like a cheerleader for, the coolest jock in class. I'm just not of that mindset. And that's really what it comes down to, folks. It's basically, I tell people this time and time again. I just recently, had a little Twitter session back and forth with Derek Bros, independent journalist. He's criticizing this Ian guy who's all in on Trump as well, I guess, and he's calling out the Biden-Kamala puppet show. And I just told Derek, I'm like, you just got to think of it like high school, man. Like, these people never left high school. And that's who you're dealing with. And it's unfortunate. It's sad. And of course, on the other hand, there's the profit motive. And so that's why you have even big timers who have already made it, right? You wouldn't think Joe Rogan would need any more money, but apparently he still does because, even though in the past he's called out Trump, this interview was pretty darn softball, wasn't it? Like, there's even, there's a considerable amount of people on the X calling out Rogan for just as much, like, and I know people say Joe Rogan is just a podcast host, he's not a journalist, yada yada. And as people do, they'll make up a mountain of excuses for one of their golden calves, somebody who they've grown to love. But, in the same token, if Joe Rogan truly, and I would hope that you'd hold me to the same standard if I ever do get bigger than I am today, which is a very slow process. If you haven't noticed, I just recently, I know I'm gonna hear from the back row seats, a couple of people already. I can just hear them saying, "Sell out, sell out." I just recently got monetized for the first time in over, I think, 6 years now on YouTube. I don't know how it happened. I did clean up my act a little bit. I got rid of some keywords that might have tipped off the algorithms earlier when they declined my resume. When I tried to apply last time to get monetized, they declined it. And this time it took almost a full 30 days for them to finally approve it somehow. So this is the very first time in, like I said, 6+ years that I'm actually making a few pennies off my videos, guys. Yay! And it's literally just that. It's pennies, but it makes you feel any better the longer you listen to this podcast today. And especially on the longer ones like this one, I try to keep it within a half an hour tops. Sometimes I get it down to 20 minutes, but say everything I want to say. But yeah, especially in these long format rants from the road or my traditional in-studio podcast, I get a little bit more than, obviously with like shorts, you get like literally nothing. I think I got like 1 penny on one of my shorts. It's literally slave wages, guys, but at least I'm making some kind of wages, right? And if that's any indication to you guys out there, like I said, hold my feet to the fire. If I ever do get bigger where I'm actually making a decent, respectable income off of this, shot in the night, I don't know, hobby of mine, fly by night, what I think I was going to say, shot in the dark is my other cliche phrase. Yeah, if you ever see me making some decent money, hold my feet to the fire, because like I said with Joe Rogan, the guy should already should have made as much money as the guy needs in a lifetime, but he still keeps it pretty kosher around Trump. And in my mind, if you truly value the truth, right? If you want to pursue the truth at all costs, and if you want to speak truth, right? Speak truth to power, convey truth to your audience, and you won't be afraid of causing a couple little ripples or ruffling a few feathers on some of these moneyed, powerful personalities that you might have on your show, like Donald Trump. But, there's a huge factor in all this that plays in, and that's the amount of followers you have, your popularity level. Again, this is like high school. This is like people walking around overgrown babies, as Rogan actually called Trump at one point. These are people that never left high school mentally, and they're playing like big shots, right?
Incredible about that guy is that, I'm saying even when you watch him as president, he was full of energy.
Full of it.
Every day. And they say he slept for like 4 hours a night. He's one of those people.
He's on Adderall.
God.
Do you think he's on Adderall?
Yes, I do. Only because there were multiple people who used to work on The Apprentice that were like, he was gassed up for shoots.
Really?
Yeah, because he has trouble reading. He would struggle to read prompter or script when he was just let's say sober.
Uh-huh.
So they would give him that, and he would dial in more on reading because he gets very bored. They said, he
Yeah.
he would get bored at the CIA briefing in the mornings. He was like, I don't want to read that. There's a daily briefing you get as president. He's like, you read it and then tell me. And if it's bored, so they would have to make it more engaging for him because he would just
I heard
tap
that they
out.
would put his name in briefings multiple times to keep him interested.
And then Kushner, his son-in-law,
Yeah.
said that he came up with a formula to keep him engaged. which
Kushner
was,
did?
Yes, because he obviously was close to him and knew him well, and the formula was like 2 good, 1 bad. So if they were going to give him bad news, they could go, you start with some good news. So they go, this is going well. Everybody's thrilled with you about this. Here's a bad thing. Also, people love you for this. So that's how they would tell him bad news. They couldn't
That's
just
funny.
go, here's a bunch of bad news.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's a man baby.
He's a toddler. Yeah, he's a toddler.
And yeah, I know, who am I to dog on Rogan, right? He's the biggest podcaster on the planet. He has broken a lot of ground that nobody else has. Pretty much set the standard for alternative podcasting, alternative news. Yeah, I just don't see why are you so afraid, Joe, to ask some tough questions of the Teflon Don? I mean, you know what, Donald, he'll just he'll just slide off his back anyway, right? It's not going to hurt Donald any. Yeah, you see how quickly Donald turned on Rogan. Now he says things like, "Oh, I've always loved Joe. We've always been buddies like this." I mean, so the one thing that I thought was interesting, there's a couple of things, but of course the one thing I put out a short, got a decent amount of views. Another maybe 2 pennies of monetization if I ever see it. But yeah, I put out the short of the ear question. Joe Rogan almost sounding a little skeptical, asking Donald Trump about his little nicked ear.
Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
What do we say? What do you got
So, right over here.
there? Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
it zicked right there.
Yeah. But it healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little. It's not like some of the wrestlers, some of the UFC fighters.
No, you didn't
It's
get
a little bit-
cauliflower
No. It was sort of like a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the bullet was a
Boy.
little of the ass, but you see the thing's taken off a little bit, but it makes me a tougher guy. The fighters. The fighters love their. Bo Nickel, he's a great fighter.
Yeah, I love Bo Nickel.
How's he going to do? I think he's
He's
terrific.
great.
And then, of course, I followed up with this Herrera guy who has a channel on YouTube, who's a big gun buff, and he actually recreated, the exact same gun, AR-style weapon, with a gelatinous target. And man, it sure looked like that bullet should have done a hell of a lot more damage to his ear than a little tiny bug bite, right? Which healed up in a week, literally. Just like nothing was there. And so, yeah, it's, I still question the whole assassination attempt. These people that just have this blind faith in the narrative these days. Like the government could never stage something. The government never lies to us, right, guys? Right? I mean, if the government can stage 9/11, the government can stage a fake assassination attempt. And yes, they don't give a damn if a couple people get killed in the process. The other question I thought was interesting was the JFK files, which, you guys get a little Starlink on the top of his car. The JFK files that Rogan actually, to his credit, at least he brought up the topic to Trump. But his follow-ups, he had absolutely nada, 0 follow-up questions to Trump's long drawn-out string of repetitive answers. Like, don't worry, Joe. Just trust me, Joe. These guys are the guys that told me that I shouldn't release the files. They know what's better for the American people.
One of the things that I want to talk to you about is the JFK files. And one of the things that you said was that if they showed you what they showed me, this was your quote, you wouldn't want people to know it either.
So I opened them up partially. I was met with, from good people, good people. People that were well-meaning. Mike Pompeo was one of them. He's a good person. They called me. They said, "Sir, would rather have you not." And I did open them, but I was asked by some people not to open them. There's a Martin Luther King file too, by the way, that they'd like to see. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But JFK in particular. So they called me. A lot of good people called me. People that that you would find reasonable people. And they asked me not to do it, so I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough time.
Why didn't you open it up the first time, though?
Because a lot of times...
What was the hesitation, though?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected. And there could be some national security reason that I don't have to necessarily know about. But some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, would it be possible for us to do that a different day?
How much of it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time. It's a cleansing. It's really a cleansing. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it immediately, almost immediately upon entering office.
Well, the thing, when people look at it from the outside and you sort of imagine what could be a reason why they would not release those files, it would be there's people that were implicated in the assassination.
Yeah. Well, when there are living people, you generally tend not to want to do it. When people are still living.
Living people that formerly work for the government.
For the government, and living people that were somehow involved in it, and you tend not to do that. But it's time to open them. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to find anything of interest. And I did partially open. I think I've opened 50%. But I was asked not to do it, and I thought that was a reasonable ask. But now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon.
After 5+ decades of this information being completely covered up by the unconstitutional, criminal, counterfeit branches of spook agencies that have completely taken over our government, like the CIA, FBI. For some reason, according to Trump, is apparently just there to gatekeep for the deep state, despite all the other talk and bravado. This special club of people, including who he called a good man, Mike Pompeo, who was plotting to assassinate Julian Assange. That's how good of guy Mike Pompeo is. He's head of the CIA. This little core group of people told him, "Not yet, Donald, not yet. Let's just hold off. Let's just hold off, Donald. Just a little while longer. There's still a few criminals that in some way could be associated with this inside job assassination on a former elected president." So, over and above the will of the people, the best interest of the American people to know what happened that day in Dallas 5+ decades ago, we need to keep safe these criminal elements that are still in our government that might in some way be associated to this assassination attempt. It's a perfectly reasonable explanation to me, right, guys? What about you? I mean, Joe seemed to think so, because he didn't really once again, he didn't really hold his feet to the fire on that one, but he was brave enough to ask the question, I guess. Score 1 for Joe. Another thing that was never brought up, and this, in my mind, was just completely predictable, and I predicted the same thing with the Tucker Carlson interview with Donald Trump. You know what never gets brought up? These right-wing podcasters, Donald Trump. Gee, Operation Warp Speed, maybe? Yeah, isn't that funny? man, and is vehemently opposed to some of these podcast hosts like Joe from the Joe Rogan Experience are to some of what followed. That whole medical practice that I can't talk about on this platform. So yeah, you'd think that would have been a big enough topic for Joe, given all the concerns from people around the world who may have been affected by this certain program. But no, it's not. It's not an important enough question to ask of the Don, I guess. I don't know, maybe he's too scared of getting it a YouTube strike, right? And this guy, like I said, should be beyond beyond money at this point. He should be beyond worrying about a paycheck. Joe Rogan is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, guys. Right? This guy's made it. So what more do you have to lose, Joe? Other than a popularity contest because you're still stuck in high school. That's the only way I can describe it. And I never really fit in school, guys. I was one of these guys who I kind of reveled in standing apart. I poked fun at the jocks. I guess there weren't too many cowboys, but there are all these different little niches, like the vatos, the jocks, the nerds, little teachers' pets, right? All these little demographics and how people just naturally kind of flocked to their own little group of people. And I guess on some level I did too, but I kind of, like I said, and I know pride comes before the fall, but I kind of, as a young kid, I'm going to buck the system. I'm going to be a true rebel, right? Like Joe Rogan called the Republicans these days. Yeah, right. I mean, come on, guys. Some of the MAGAs are the biggest sheep. And I see a Donald Trump bumper sticker right in front of me.
The rebels are Republicans now. They're like, you want to be a rebel, you want to be punk rock, you want to buck the system, you're a conservative now. That's how crazy.
But yeah, some of the MAGAs are the biggest sheep that I've ever seen, the biggest NPCs, right? Oh, I got Trump sneakers. I'm going to skateboard in them and do a video and stick it on Twitter. Tim Pool. Oh, Elon, he's making it super cool to drive slave wagons. Rebranding EVs as if they're cool and tough guys, something out of Mad Max. I'm going to go buy myself a $120,000 Cybertruck. Show off on X.
Yeah, but it was uphill.
And here's another little angle to postulate. Do you know who actually owns the UFC? As well as the I think it's E now, right? World Wrestling something. Rahm Emanuel. So, of course, Joe Rogan's big on the UFC. It's a big part of his paycheck, no doubt, as well. And it's his whole identity, in fact, as a former fighter. And so when you have Rahm Emanuel, people were asking, why didn't Joe ask about the funding to Israel, the Zionist lobbies and the genocide in Gaza? Rahm Emanuel, the brother of, no, Ari. I don't know if I said Rahm originally. Ari Emanuel owns the UFC. Ari Emanuel is like this Hollywood fixer. He's been called the King of Hollywood. He, by other strange coincidence, also used to be Donald Trump's agent, right? All these little incestuous parasites, they all kind of flock together, don't they? But yeah, Rahm Emanuel's Ari Emanuel's brother, of course, the former cabinet member of the Obama administration, the guy that would sit in the Obama closed-door meetings and flick him in the back of the head because that's how much power a little puppet Obama actually had, right? For all these people that are like, Obama's in control of Biden, well, who was sitting behind flicking him in the head during closed-door meetings, right? Cabinet meetings. What does that tell you guys? So, of course, Rahm, being the smartass that he was, he had to be repositioned to another cabinet position, let's say, as mayor of Chicago, of course, the most corrupt city, or at least one of the top 3 in the U.S. And who are the Emanuels, right? Who are the Emanuel brothers? I think there's actually 3. I forgot now. It escapes me. But the third brother's, into some heavy shit himself. Pardon my French, but their father was literally a Israeli terrorist, Mossad. And the Emanuels just kind of came over here to this country and just kind of started taking over things.
Back now at 8:39 with an American success story times 3. Brian Williams recently sat down for a rare and exclusive joint interview with the Emanuel brothers, Rahm, Zeke, and Ari. And oh, brother, did he get an earful.
The Emanuel brothers, 3 super achievers raised under the same roof. The big city mayor, the Hollywood super agent, and the medical bioethicist.
You know something? Somebody crosses us or somebody crosses a friend. They know we're going to be in the trench if it's appropriate. And I promise you that we're going to be on their side and it's going to be a battle. And I think that is also loyalty. So there's how we treat people, but it's also if somebody screws with one of us or a friend or a company, that we will be there to defend it. And that's also how we grew up.
And isn't it just kind of funny how this fixer, this Hollywood insider, this king of Hollywood, just kind of finds his way. He was also brokering a deal for Twitter with Elon Musk, right? Some of you might remember the Kanye, his very last tweet before he was banned off of Twitter for his what was construed as an anti-Semitic remark. In reality, I think it was kind of funny. It was like some kind of a UFO cult symbol that looked like a Swazi. That's what gets you banned off Twitter. But yeah, his last tweet that he put out was Elon Musk out on a yacht with Ari Emanuel spraying him off with a hose, looking in that snapshot as obviously Elon Musk's superior, just laughing at the guy. Now, however you want to take that particular moment in time, in context, the fact is that they were cozying up. This was around the same time when Ari was working out, brokering deals with all these different big money donors and banks for Elon Musk to buy and monopolize later the platform of Twitter. So Elon Musk, let me get this straight, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Joe Rogan, of course Dana White is part of the UFC as well. All connected to the Emanuels, and the Emanuels connected to Israeli Mossad, and of course, you have Rahm Emanuel, who also shared a high-level cabinet position. I think Trump even offered Ari Emanuel a cabinet position in his administration, but I think he turned it down because he probably thought it probably looked kind of bad, right, guys? Sometimes it's better to rule from behind the curtain, to rule by secrecy, as the title of the book goes. I think that's is that Jim Mars or the other Mars? In any case, so yeah, and I'm not gonna get too wrapped up on the Israeli connection. I don't think everything has to do with the Jews. Okay, guys. In fact, on certain occasions I will defend, I guess, the quote-unquote Jews, even though a lot of times people can't really give me a sufficient answer in my mind. What do you even mean by Jew in this modern day and age? There's been so much interbreeding. I mean, the so-called Jews with the funny hats and the curly locks, right? They share more in common with Eastern European people. And of course, like I tell people, Jesus was a Jew, right? If you're a Christian and you hate Jews, right? Jesus was actually a Jew, guys. Because if you look into the origin of the name, or the word Jew, it comes from Judah, right? It means of Judah, which is one of the tribes, of course, and Jesus was related of the lineage of Judah through King David and the house of David. If you look into the long, laborious lineage of Christ, which is all detailed in the scripture. So Jesus was a Jew. Yes, did he get killed by a bunch of rabid, zealous, mostly the religious leaders of the day, the Pharisees, the people who Jesus truly threatened, the church, is who ultimately demanded Christ be killed. But it was in coordination with Rome, right? Which the Bible describes in the vision of Daniel as the breakers of thy people, the iron beast, toothed beast, the Roman Empire, the Iron Age, right? They carried iron weapons and armor. And everybody to this day, all the elites who want to rule the world, have been trying to revive the Roman Empire. And that's why you have the Pope, who sits on what he declares is the very throne of God, the seat of Peter, the rightful heir, the head of the church. And he declares himself to be the Pontifex Maximus, which is a title for Caesar, which basically means the highest of high priests, right? He takes the place of God, the Antichrist power, the little horn power in Daniel. Anyway, total side topic. Prophecy again just comes out of me sometimes. But yeah, isn't that a strange coincidence? And really, you want to look into the Jews, the most powerful Jews, like the Rothschilds. If you look up their name, it basically means red shield. And if you look up the, let's say, the Catholic dictionary, the Rothschilds were the bankers of the Vatican. Why do you think the Rothschilds got so wealthy? Because they banked for the Vatican. And then there's that long history of the correlation of the Vatican and the Rothschilds. Goes way, way back to the reinstitution of political power when the Rothschilds gave a loan to the Holy See. But keep in mind, the Rothschilds have been around only for so long. The Holy See has been around for thousands of years, guys, since 330 AD at least, by their own admission. The oldest globalist institution on earth is the Vatican, guys. And so, you want to look at the Jews, look no farther than the Vatican. And the founder of the Illuminati, Weishaupt, literally a Jesuit trained. And what's a Jesuit? Always a Jesuit, guys. That's just how it works. Just look into the Jesuits. Look at how many people in positions of power are Jesuit trained. It's a pretty fascinating study once you go down that little rabbit hole. Anyway, everybody, that's just my quick take. I'll do more on this Joe Rogan interview, no doubt. It was just pretty damn softball, in my opinion. Like I said, if you're going to take on the mantle of it as a teller of truth, right? As a modern day podcasting prophet, you can't just suck up, kiss ass to power. You got to speak truth to power. And that's what I hope to do, with my show. As little as an audience as these different platforms give me, even on X, I finally got my blue check on X because I guess I'm a sucker. They had a deal going on and it was like 40% off for a year, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a try because I can do longer format videos that way. And yeah, no, they claim that you'll get more replies, more traffic. It's like, no, nothing changed. Kind of want my money back now. Thanks, but no thanks, Elon. Anyway, God bless everybody. Nightwatch N8. I'm fuming out the cafe here. I stopped to grab some coffee. All out of coffee. I got to keep my brain ticking somehow, guys, because I'm starting to slow down in my old age. If you haven't noticed. God bless everybody. This is Nightwatch N8. Stay tuned. More to come. And again, like I said, keep liking those videos, comment, and give me those watch hours if you could, because I'm actually earning something now, guys. I think I'm up to a whole $3 now since becoming monetized. So this could become a lucrative deal here, guys, someday. I don't know, maybe another 10 years from now. Shoot, might be able to retire. God bless everybody. Once again, thanks for watching. This is Nightwatch N8. Till next time, signing out. Go potty, Bozzy. What do you think? Let's smell the ground for a bit. It's one beautiful dog right there taking a whiz. One beautiful dog. Yes, it is. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? And these fall colors and this beautiful, beautiful, perfect fall weather. In late October. And look at that, we got some elk hanging out down there. Not something you see every day in Loveland, Colorado. Herd of elk moved in. They're already over the winter too. I escaped the cold. Well, it's not even that cold yet. It's pretty cool though. Okay, buddy. Let's go. You still eating grass? You want to be an elk too, huh? Come on, boy. Oh, man. Cannot complain. Cannot complain about this weather. Can complain about a lot of other things, like, you know, of course, politics all day long, but this weather, the beauty of God's creation all around us, infinite palette of colors, comes with a fall season, intricate handiwork of the Creator all around us. Look at this, guys. This is beautiful. This makes life worth living, right, guys? All the good that's still left in the world, like the little Frodo quote. Go, boss. Still enough light left in this world worth fighting for. I think it said something like that. Lord of the Rings. Okay, buddy, let me take your leash off. Alright, man, there's a ton of traffic too, apparently. Is it Elk Fest? Maybe that's it. Elk Fest happening in Estes. Look at all this traffic. Tell ya. It is definitely some prime weather. We're heading up to the hills, I guess. Well, we still can before it's dead of winter, snow-covered streets. Alright, back to where I belong. Heading back up the hills, guys. Head for the hills!